there's been a lot of discussion here, and I want to put it all in context. There's sort of the oligopoly solution where the big meat packers control, and then there's this other path, which is farmers can sell directly to consumers, but they have to sell them the animal. And so these custom slaughterhouses exist because of one exemption right now, these hundreds of thousands of custom slaughterhouses. And that is the farmer can sell the consumer a whole animal or half an animal. And the problem with that is it's regressive. How many families can afford to buy 500 pounds of meat? But that's the only system, the only alternative that exists. So the Prime Act seeks to expand that alternate path, which has made nobody sick, and it's made a lot more people healthier. So I want to talk about, Mr. Salatin, sustainability, affordability, traceability, and safety. Because those are concerns that were all raised.
Yes.
Can you speak to each of those four, and I'll go over them one at a time, sustainability, affordability, traceability, and safety, and talk about how enabling or empowering a more local food system enhances all of those things. It doesn't detract from them.
Yes, you know, we've heard a lot about protecting the public here. It's time to protect the private. You know, and so on sustainability, one of the beauties of offering this kind of choice to the consuming populace is that it does actually create options for farmers and consumers who want to opt out of whatever the system is, whether it's like the Gunthorpe family that opted out of, I don't mean to hit you, that opted out of the, you know, the industrial pork system, or whether it's a consumer who's wanting to opt out of Walmart. The opt-out option creates a sustainability because it's about resilience. And so, you know, when fertilizer, for example, on our farm, when fertilizer jumped 400% when Putin invaded Ukraine, we didn't miss a beat because we don't buy any of it. You know, and these are the kind of farmers that we're dealing with. So it works all the way up the food chain, building soil, earthworms, sustainability. Affordability is a big one because, as you mentioned, not only does the current system require large volume buying. The average American now can't put their hand on $400. So, you know, that you can't buy volume. It's pretty difficult. But because of the overhead and paperwork costs of inspection, it artificially elevates the price of food. And so a custom house operating at a much lower capitalization cost for infrastructure, a lower paperwork cost, can actually do what a federal inspected plant does for, let's just say, $1, it can do it for 75 cents. That cost gets passed on to the product. And so suddenly, not only do we have a sustainable, secure food supply, I mean, does anybody think if we'd had 300,000 smaller plants accessing the country instead of 300 mega plants at COVID, we would have had less of a hiccup in the food system if we'd had 300,000 plants instead of 300. So affordability is a big deal. Traceability is another one. You know, right now, a typical burger at a burger joint has pieces of 600 animals in it. So if anybody thinks that all those 600 animals in a burger at McDonald's is traceable, I've got a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you. Trust me, it is not traceable, okay? And so the problem is, I think, we've built this system and we have a trust in this system that's actually let us down. It's not working. And what was your fourth one?
Safety.
Safety. That's the big one because the safest food comes from smaller plants that have, somebody over here, I don't remember who, was talking about branding, that when you put your brand behind it, you have a really vested interest in making sure that that is a safe product. One of the things that you notice with all these recalls, what's the first thing a CEO says as soon as they've got a product recall? Well, we've complied with everything. And the big industry hides behind the skirts of the inspection service all the time. A place like me, we don't have any skirts to hide behind. if we sell bad chicken or bad beef or bad pork chops, it comes back on us. I'll close with this story because I think this is foundational to what we're talking about here. When Michael Pollan wrote Power Steer in the New York Times and basically blew the door off of grass-finished beef market, I got contacted by, I won't mention a name, but the largest fast food chain in the country. And they were interested in offering a grass-finished burger. Well, they saw some of the things that I'd written about them, and they said, oh, maybe we don't want to go visit them. So they sent their DC, their counsel, their retainer attorney down to check us out. And we spent half a day together. And as I was talking about the disparity between the way a small plant and a large outfit deals with these subjective inspections, he said, oh, that's just business. He said, at our place, when we have an overzealous inspector or a little tyrant or one of the 20% top or bottom, they call me. I go to the commissioner at FSIS and get them fired. That's just the way we do business. A small plant like ours, we don't have that kind of clout. We don't have that option. So we're held hostage by this system that I've already said measures their efficacy in pounds per inspector personnel hour. I didn't know that they were measuring efficacy by pounds per hour. I thought it was about safe food. So the whole thing is incentivized to be prejudicial to small outfits, and that's why we need some sort of option that allows a parallel universe to exist, because that's the only way that you can actually create competition and accountability within the monopoly.
Thank you, Mr. Salatin.